Annus horribilis.
You'll have to explain that one, but hang on while we're getting the YouTube stream going. Hang on while we're All right. YouTube. There was my own voice echoing back to us from YouTube, so we are good to go. We are live on YouTube and we can kick off um, the December 10th, 2024 Rider Oversight Committee meeting. We're coming up on a 20-year anniversary, I believe, next year. So this is almost a monthly meeting. Um, this particular full meeting of the month going on 20 years times almost 12 months out of the year. We take August off, but thank you anybody and everybody who's watching online. I'm Stefan Wunsch. I'm the co-chair of the Rider Oversight Committee, along with Wig Zamor, who I'm sure would like to say hi. Wig, please do if you want.
Hi, everybody. Long-term member from Somerville. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And Len, want to just introduce yourself, make sure audio sounds good?
Leonard Higgins, um, Arlington MBTA. Well, heavy MBTA user, live in Arlington. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I should mention I am in Lynn, Massachusetts. And Craig's timing could not be perfect because, Craig, we just kicked off the meeting officially about 20 seconds before you joined. So welcome aboard. I'm going to make sure I get
And he meant
all
could not be more
four.
perfect.
Could not be
Yeah.
more perfect. Could not be. Yeah, my grammar could not be more terrible.
I followed along. Well, not see. I felt bad for joining 22 minutes late. Now I don't feel bad. Now I feel perfect. So I'll take it.
Absolutely. Welcome aboard, and we just literally just kicked off the Zoom onto YouTube and got going. So I do not see anyone joined into Zoom except for the four of us at the moment. And on YouTube, there is also nobody live. So unless one of you three gents would like to make some comments under the auspices of public comment, feel free. But if not, we can move into agenda item number one, unless you want to talk about anything that's more pressing in case any of you gents have to uh, bail out before our planned 6:30 ending time.
Let's do the schedule
Sounds good.
first. Yeah. So just
I've got a
saying,
couple of things to share, but Len or Craig or Wig, is there anything that from the recent current events board of directors meeting that you'd like me to pull up first? I've got all the slides I can drag right over into this window.
Well, I noticed two things in a very cursory look at some of the materials. One was uh, the importance of Blue Hill Avenue. I didn't know how slow service is for some of the people who really depend on it. So I thought that you know the portrayal of that in part of the presentations was well made. Um, Secondly, and I may have mentioned this before, but I, I am disappointed at the 86 being shortened. It was the bus I went most frequently on longer trips on, and I mean
would
it
you
doesn't matter that much to me.
you would go from where to where?
Well, I would go from Eastern Somerville to
Okay,
basically to the Alston boundary till, the end of the Harvard campus in Alston. So
gotcha.
it was really perfect for me, but it's not a hardship. It's just a tiny
Right.
thing for me. And it may be other people are much better served by the rearrangements. Um, I did, I also did think that Somerville and Chelsea are the two densest communities in Massachusetts, and they also have the most foreign air pollution. That is air pollution from things that go by, but don't really connect that much. And so the the fact that there's not so much, I mean, I'm delighted with the green line and the orange line, and I never wish that we had um, fancier green line service. I'm perfectly satisfied with the kind of modest light rail that didn't go over the top on stations and stuff like that. I think it's entirely appropriate, much more so than the first project, which cratered because of the cost overruns. So I have no disappointment in that regard. But I do think that we are not as focused perhaps as we should be on the health effects of surface transportation and aviation, which continue to be really large and also really concentrated. I'll stop there.
I'd actually like you to say a little bit more about what the impact that you're seeing and you think other people are seeing on the 86, because I mean I saw this and said, yeah, that is notable. That, that's cutting the route basically by probably what, half, right?
Yeah,
Harvard to Reservoir instead of all the way up to Sullivan. That's going to make a
yeah,
single
but
seat ride
uh,
impossible for lots of people in that corridor.
right, and it worked out that way for me. But I really can't complain. Having, especially given that Somerville benefited from the Orange Line T stop at Assembly, um, and also has benefited from the light rail branches. So I certainly can't complain about attention to Somerville
Do you
lately.
do you,
But yeah, it was a great service for me.
yeah, do you have any sense that the um the two new Green Line stops are picking up, I mean literally and figuratively, people in a what's it called, catchment area, um, that would normally be, for example, I mean, I'm just speculating. Would people be, would have people have been taking the 86 to get to the Red Line connection at Harvard, where now they're not going that far and they're just going to one of the Green Line stops? Does that ring true, do you think?
Well, I think it's good. I think it's going to be an issue longer term. As you guys know, every couple of years I bring up Phase 3 Urban Ring on Grand Junction. I still think that would be a really important project. Um, and so I think there are some issues about trying to serve kind of that inner ring area that's certainly inside of 128 and more appropriately transit based than car based or roadway based.
Just
Um,
remind me on the 86 here. Where was the what is it? It's the area past Sullivan Square that's being cut.
yeah,
Yes, it's
yes,
this northern part between Harvard and Sullivan, which is being dropped, and it's only going to be Harvard to Reservoir. So that's the bottom end, which will remain. And as it says, new frequent 109 will take over between Harvard and Sullivan. So they seem to be saying
right,
similar, equivalent, or better
Right.
frequent bus
You just
route,
have to
but
change at Harvard now.
right.
right. And that's why I was
But
wondering, well, how.
theoretically, that allows them to make the Harvard to Sullivan go. That's going to be more rapid.
Yes, and I personally used to take the 86 from Harvard to Sullivan maybe 3, 4 times a month during peak PM,
Yeah.
and it was many, many years before that, but I had also taken Harvard to Brighton on the 86. And I mean, it was many years separated, but um, generally my experience was that the Harvard to Sullivan was always really congested and would really get the buses off schedule because of traffic, as opposed
Yep.
to the Harvard to Reservoir. My recollection was that it was pretty much not stop and go traffic, and it was pretty timely. So just based on my own personal recollections, I think it's a good call, especially because, as I was saying, that East Somerville Union Square, those could be picking up people who may have been just taking the 86 to get to Orange or to get to Red. Wig, I would love to find out from,
Well,
people if that is in fact what the riders are doing more lately.
no, I don't know other riders. You know, I think that, the way I view the whole T system is that it was and is primarily focused on Boston, and secondarily focused on Cambridge when the Red Line happened, which was really important from an academic, from a university point of view.
Yep.
The Red Line was critical. I think I have no evidence of this, but I guess that the Harvard Square Red Line station costs more than both Green Line branches altogether. But anyway, that is what it is. But I think my personal view now is that, and I do think, I've said this many times, I do think Lower Mystic to Lynn is the most left out, compared to, and part of that is just the way Boston really goes south, right? From downtown, it goes south and west, and
Yes, so
then,
let's move on to the others then. So I think I agree with you, Stefan, that this one seems logical to me. It doesn't seem like you get a ton of people who would need that single seat ride in that direction. Like if I'm sitting at Reservoir, I'd almost just jump on a Green Line and think I was going. Like you have to go in and out to your hub and spoke, to your centralized Boston thing. But
yeah, but I think the the problem from my point of view is that it goes back to the economy and employment, right? We were a well-distributed manufacturing economy in live-work balance in pretty much all the cities of the Northeast. That collapsed almost completely, not entirely, but almost completely. And we're now an economy led by the research universities. And that has caused a lot of live-work imbalance, right? You got vastly more jobs than residential in Boston and Cambridge, and so you've got much more surface transportation due to the live-work imbalance, and that's our biggest climate problem. It's also our biggest environmental health problem.
right, but I agree with all of that. But that I think the 86 ideas is still a good idea.
Well, but if you don't have good circumferential transit, at various distances from the core, I think.
Right, but your premise is that it's the research universities, and the dead end becomes Harvard. So you're getting folks from either end to Harvard. That's what you want.
Well, yeah, but at this point, I mean, this is probably a longer conversation, but at this point, the two research economic nodes are Longwood Medical and Kendall MIT. It's
Correct.
certainly not downtown
And
Boston.
the 86 doesn't solve either of those.
I know, but
to do that, you get to Harvard
connected.
And you get on the Red Line to go down to Kendall.
Those two are not connected. And how is Lower Mystic to Lynn connected to those two?
I agree. I want to move on to that. I just want to move past 86. That 86 doesn't violate the 86 makes sense.
Okay. Let's move on.
The next one, the 116 and 117 starts to get us towards.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not fully Lower Mystic, but we get into the Chelsea problem here at least.
Right. Right. So the 117 is no longer going to come out of Wonderland and go down Beach Street. It's just going to be the 116, as it says, on the existing alignment. So it's
Yeah,
still
that's
a 110 available for people, um, and then a transfer at
okay.
where the 117 and the 110, or rather,
Yeah,
I said
the
116
117
and
seems
110 used to cross.
the 117 seems duplicative, right? Like you might
For much of it, but I mean, as it's saying, combining to become a frequent bus route, which I believe they are not right now. I mean, I
is
I
a good
believe
thing.
that's the intention is um, provide better
Right. While
service.
maintaining the 110 as the circumference.
Right.
Circumference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd have to like look at the schedule for the Route 116 and 117 to say that you don't get frequent service along the trunk. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you could time it such that you have frequent service along the trunk, and then where it splits, then it becomes being less frequent. So I could see the 117 and the 116 maybe having headways of 30 minutes, but then along the trunk, they would have headways of 15 minutes, which would be equivalent to what you're going to have now with the combined Route 16
Yep.
and 117. I mean, I'm fine with what they did. I mean, I'm sure they did some analysis to determine, what the ridership was on 117 versus 116. But they're really saying now that, the 117 folks, the people who are using 117, I guess they can use the 110,
Exactly.
and then transfer.
Right. And I think we've talked in one of the subcommittee meetings before that if a route a combination of routes happens. Hear me out on this because I think we talked about this in the past. If if routes are combined, which then plus a higher frequency makes the trip more reliable and it's more frequent to begin with, then needing to switch somebody who might have previously had a single seat ride on the 116, if they have to now take the, I'm sorry, 117, other way around. I said it wrong. If somebody who was used to taking the 117 all the way to Maverick, which will no longer operate, 117 will no longer operate, if they have to make that change, if the end result is more often and more reliable, then that extra waiting time to make the change might be a wash. In other words, an unreliable, tied up in traffic, less frequent 117, which is being knocked out, replaced by a more reliable, more frequent 116, and you've got to make a transfer, it
Well,
could be a net
well,
result of very little change to the overall trip time for those people. Does
well, in
that
the
ring
well in
true to
the
you guys?
in the trunk, whether they're combined or not, they're going to be susceptible to traffic. You know,
Hmm.
so you left out heavy traffic in the comparator. Oh, the one that you're comparing it to, man, I think along the trunk, that's probably where you're gonna get the traffic. But why I'm fine with this is that it seems like they're going to increase the frequency of the 110. So the 117 folks will probably get a higher frequency service, than they are with the 117. So except for having
Hmm.
to transfer at some point, it will probably be a faster ride for them, especially if the 116 is also being a faster ride.
Right.
It'll be bad if they get to the place where they have to transfer and they just miss the bus. They have to wait 15 minutes. So the worst would
Yep.
be yeah, because I'm assuming now, anywhere along that route on 117 using your app, you don't have to wait a long time. Outside whatever, you may have to wait longer than you'd like to, but at least you don't have to wait outside any longer um, than necessary. But when they have to make that 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 transfer, then they're subject to um, chance, I suppose. Unless they are able to coordinate, the buses,
Right.
so that they can get to that intersection. Soon after the 117 or the 110 passes. So, anyways, I think it's good.
Me too. I'm very optimistic. I think this strikes me as being well researched and well designed. I don't know if
If
you want to
if
go
you're
look
going
at the
the
other two, but
if
we
you're
certainly
going
can.
the whole length of that, you're going to be on the blue line anyway, right?
Yep.
The whole width of what?
Oh yeah, because yeah, because
116, 117.
this is basically like picking up people from um Everett, Revere, Chelsea, and bringing them to downtown. I believe this is via Maverick. People are making a transfer primarily.
Yeah. So the importance there is, I think, the intermediate trips between Wonderland and Maverick, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and I got to point out also that the SL3 um does bisect these two lines here, and I mean the SL3 is not as um zippy as the blue line, but that certainly has come about. Like it doesn't wasn't the SL3 brought out all the way to Chelsea more recently than the last time these routes were evaluated? That's my sense, is that this 110, 116, 117 has been this way up till this redesign here for a longer period than the Silver Line extension. Hence, some people may be getting off at Silver Line. Not sure about
Yeah.
that part,
Yeah.
that last part. That's
I don't have a sense
yeah,
of
I'm not sure.
Who doesn't want to ride the Silver Line?
um, well, I just don't have much experience. I mean,
Yeah,
this part of the system, you know.
Well, this
I've taken
area,
it.
that Stefan, as you know, this area also has all the early service to Logan, right? So,
Yep. Right. Yeah. I mean,
which is
I
really
believe that's
important.
one of the big appeals of this is getting from this dense area of Chelsea and the southern parts of Revere to the airport
Yeah.
where there's a lot of employment.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just take a quick look at the last two. I mean, we're on a roll here. I mean, again, becoming a frequent bus route every 15 or better all day, every day. I mean, I don't think there's any cutbacks on this. So this is just a step up. Right. Oh, right. And yeah, we saw the 110 mentioned on the previous slide.
Yeah, I
This is
mean,
just longer service.
the transit signal priority work. I mean, in Everett, I'm excited. I mean,
Mhm.
and if the numbers are to be believed at the top of the deck, I mean, showing that Everett,
Yeah, let me go back to that.
Alden, and Revere are going to get they have a lot more people that are
Yep.
that can walk, being to a frequent bus service. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, these numbers, I agree. If this projection for um the proximity, I mean, that's quite astounding.
Yeah.
28% um better access. Amazing. Well, I think the key thing is to good frequent bus service. I don't think this is making any claims that this is new service to these people, but it's better service. It's more frequent, higher quality, because these routes were already there. They're just being improved. The overall delivery is being improved.
Right.
Again, the 104, same thing, becoming frequent bus route. Um, Instead of going to Sullivan, we'll go east and go to airport. Oh, they don't show the new 104 on this, so
No, they don't show
I
the
just
new ones.
realized, yeah, they don't show
Yeah.
what the actual
Yeah, they don't show the new one.
new path is going to be.
I mean, there are links being to
Airport via Bellingham. Okay.
never mind. I'm thinking about another deck where there were links being to more information.
Okay.
But I
But we can
guess
pretty much extrapolate.
yeah. And I think if you go to probably the bus network redesign site,
Yeah.
you can find like the I'm sure you can find the new routes on those. But they describe it. Yeah.
Yep. And am I correct in thinking that this 109 becoming frequent bus route is also working to compensate for the 104 not going to Sullivan? Yes, I believe that's the case, right? Because it's
Yeah.
saying here the 104 is not going to Sullivan, but the 109 does, and the 109 is getting stepped up to frequent level. So that
Right.
sounds like a good balance, I believe.
Yeah, there was a time when I used to babysit out in Malden near Linden Square, where having 109 very frequent from Harvard Square to Linden Square would have just been a dream. A dream. I mean, as it
Hmm.
was, I mean, I would take like the 109, or the 108, to Malden Center or Sullivan, but usually, and then either get navigate, to Harvard Square, by bus or by train, or take the 90, from Wellington Circle to Davis Square. So the 109 from Harvard Square to Linden, oh my goodness, so and maybe the kid I was babysitting will have grandkids and bring them
Uh,
to their parents' place, or have kids. I can babysit their kids
right.
and take the
Well,
new bus route.
I'm looking forward to seeing this all play out. I think this is um very well designed. Um, I think it's also particularly well communicated. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to see maps that show the new, the new 109, but it's available. It's just not
Yeah,
in here. That's fine.
right.
Um, anything more you want to cover on here?
Well, I thought we were just trying to collect the topics to
Mm,
discuss, because I definitely want to go back to the schedule before someone has to leave. Just want to point out when we're going to meet in January, and then want
yeah.
to um, get a sense from you all as to how to handle, you know,
Yeah, and I actually had one question that I didn't realize until yeah, coming right up. I'm gonna pull this over uh, as soon as my computer behaves itself and lets me. Here we are. Oh, too big.
That's good.
I guess that.
It's fun.
Okay. Whoop. All right. Um, the only question I had, Len, was no subcommittees in June? Nothing on the second week in June? You had
oh
that empty in here. I wasn't sure if that was
no,
a typo.
that's a mistake.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, somehow I knocked out the 10. So
No, that's
okay.
okay. This is
Yeah,
this looks great to me.
yeah. So I'll fix that on the sheet that I'm looking at now. So yeah, I'll put the 10 back in there.
Mhm.
And then in September being um the there's Rosh
Right.
Hashanah, which is the a high holy day. It's not like the highest. It's not like Yom Kippur, where people, are fasting.
Yeah.
Maybe what we can do, we can play that one by ear when we get to the ninth. And see if we want to, we do the 23rd if we really want to stay shifted. I'm fine with that, because then the meeting on the second Tuesday in October is still a good 2 weeks away. So it's not a situation where we'd be jamming ourselves and having a meeting a week later, so that could work, and and also just to note in November that we're pushing back to the 18th because the 11th is Veterans Day, which is one of those holidays I think where, I think the markets aren't closed on Veterans Day, but some schools are closed, some aren't. So I leave it to folks here to decide whether or not they will want to meet on the 11th. If not, then I have it programmed in for the 18th. And then the question that I think we should think about, and then again, we can decide this later on, is whether we'll want to meet on December 9th, or 16th. you know.
Yeah, I am indifferent to the December 9 versus 16. So I no either one for me, but I am in favor of the November 18,
Huh,
even though that's not the second nor the fourth Tuesday in November. That's the third Tuesday. So it's not our usual, but I think doing it on the 18th of November would be good. As you said, just so it's not on the actual Veterans Day.
right.
Yeah, it shows respect.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I might also be, off at an event here in Lynn. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to be not clash with Rosh Hashanah because I don't think it's a issue for any of us, but it could be for someone
mhm.
who may start participating next year or whatever. So
yeah.
given that we can have it on the 30th, push it back, and still not end up being, like I said, jamming ourselves on the 14th or in October, then I'm fine with doing that.
Yep.
All right. All right.
Yep. But I mean, as with everything, we don't need to make a rush to judgment.
Do
Sorry.
do the 9th of December.
You
That's
prefer the ninth?
assuming we're all, yeah.
All right. That's fine. Okay.
Assuming
Sounds
I'm
good.
still here a year from now.
I hope so.
Oh, okay.
But if you do
How
buy
about
that
that?
private island in the Bahamas, I hope at very least you'll invite us once in a while.
No, he's
Oh,
gonna become. He's gonna,
I
he's gonna
wish that
become.
was the excuse I had to leave.
He's gonna become assistant GM. Yeah. Uh, the people will have watched Craig on these meetings and go, "That guy, he can fix the system." Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all we
So
can say, Craig, is we support whatever you have to do, but definitely keep us in the loop, so, as the planning evolves.
yeah. Just remember, if you need someone to argue with, I'm good. I'm here.
Shall we go back to any particular item from the board meeting? And if you're not sure what those were, I've got that to drag in over here. Did any one of these jump out? I actually wanted to run through the Keolis battery electric and the bi-level. I mean, of course,
Sure.
commuter rail is near and dear to my heart, and that's really not much to cover, but it doesn't have to be the next thing.
I'm fine with whatever. I mean, there's nothing really financial in here. I mean, it looks like they're going to have the subcommittee meetings this month, so I'm looking forward to seeing what administration and finance does. Yeah.
Yep, me too. And also safety.
Uh,
There hasn't been a safety subcommittee meeting in what, like 3 months, I think. I mean, that's fine. It's a decision.
yeah.
Well, anyway, speaking of finance, in case you didn't already see it, the plan presented at the board was to exercise that remaining 39 if procured prior to December 10. I think we knew that the contract was for 41 authorized and then the 39. And so this recommendation, this presentation was all about actually going forward with the remaining 39. I was saying to Len and Wig before you came on, Craig, actually before we started the meeting officially, I was saying I didn't have a chance to pull up the recording of the meeting, but I don't want to put words in your mouth, Len. You'd said you'd be shocked if it wasn't approved.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll take that as a to-do item just to double check on this.
Sure.
But I agree with Len completely. I'd be shocked if it wasn't approved.
Yeah.
At this point, I think the reliability is up there. It's Hyundai Rotem is our standard bi-level, and it gets rid of. I think this is to get rid of all of the last single level, right? I believe that's in
Yeah,
here,
that's what
but
he
I
said.
can't.
Yeah, that's what he said. They get rid of all the single level. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, we'll have a single standardized bi-level fleet, no more single levels. There'll still be some Kawasaki's in there. It's not going to be all Hyundai Rotem, but it'll all be bi-level. Oh, there it is. Yes, there it is. Enable retirement of all the remaining single level. So
yeah.
that's a great thing.
Well, what I liked about this, be a nice little piece of information in this deck, was the percentage of people that are now using the system. And
oh, we'll go back to that.
Slide 4. So it's interesting to
There we
see
go.
that commuter rail is 94% of what it was pre-pandemic. And I think they're attributing that to increased service.
At the right slide? Oh, here it is. Ridership. Yep.
Yeah. But but it is in contrast to subway, which is at 50%. So on the one hand, you want to say with the commuters at 94%, it's like everyone's coming back to the office. But with subway at 50%, I don't know if you can say that.
Right.
True.
And so now the commuter rails increase service, and so the elasticities would say, okay, you're getting more riders because there's more service. Yeah. So now that subway is coming back, so I think it's on the track improvement that they show how much decrease in headways there are now, on the various like red, green, blue lines, and how much more service they're providing. So it'll be interesting to see, what happens in the next year. Controlling for everything else, which is going to be very hard because it's just going to be a wacky year in comparison to just about anything. So anyways, but still, it was an interesting set of numbers. And so now I have uh, I'm going to ask this question.
You're right, though.
Good.
Not to cut you off, but how do you explain the difference? Like, why is the commuter rail doing so much better than it rebounded to 94% versus what subways?
Well, they are providing more service on the commuter rail now, right? And they've kind of changed. They changed the frequency, and they've made it as much as they can. They've made the schedules clock facing, or clock face, whatever you call it.
Yeah, clock face.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So
I could make a speculation on that, actually. I've been hearing traffic reports on the morning news every weekday as I get ready for work. And I've been generally hearing veteran traffic reporters saying the traffic on Boston area, like inside 495 roads of all types, is just the worst it's been ever, ever, ever. So I would not be surprised if people are returning to commuter rail, specifically because those people are, if they drive, they're having the longest and therefore the most heinous commute in their cars. I bet it's that simple. If you're coming in from Newburyport trying to drive, nightmare.
I can see 93 from where I live, and it looks pretty bogged down a lot of the time. So that's 93 from the north inbound. But to Craig's question, there's got to be some economic and employment connections in why commuter rail is so different from the intercity service with regard to recovery.
I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
Could it be as simple as the people who are on commuter rail are the ones who are being forced back to the office? There's so many end of work from home options. Could it be that the population of previous work from home people are predominantly better served by commuter rail, just because those people decided to relocate further out? Given the choice of work from home, you can go anywhere.
I wonder if there's still the same level of clerical staff as there was pre-pandemic.
The only thing I can think is that maybe, the September numbers, maybe the 2024 numbers, maybe are not factoring in the diversions that we had. So the diversions that we had would have affected subway usage, and so that may be being suppressed, and some of that would have been, transferred to commuter rail, but I don't think that would account as much for the increase in commuter rail. Now I will say with respect to the traffic, the traffic was getting really horrible pre-pandemic. So I was about to say, well, if these people are on the road and they used to be on commuter rail, then the fact that we have commuter rail increasing wouldn't explain, why the traffic's still heavy being on the streets, but on the roadways. But like I said, it was really bad before the pandemic.
Oh, I was thinking that the people who are returning to commuter rail might be the most nimble because they were already in communities that had the commuter rail service, and so they were driving for a while. This is just, speculation based on what I've seen in my own neighborhood and what, I did a few times during the past years, a couple of years. If I had been driving and I was getting really frustrated, I'd be right back on the train again.
And I see the same thing on Route 28. I can travel on local roads to get where I need to go, so I don't have to be on 28. But the afternoon congestion on 28 is staggering.
I'm going to pull in the slide from Mr. Eng's presentation because that does give the trips and wait times.
So a quick question before we get off the commuter rail.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So I think it's on the bi-levels, some of the older bi-levels, the windows, are just so scratched that you can't see out of them. What's the deal with that? Do you know, Christopher?
I remember talking to conductors and assistant conductors, and they were under the impression that Keolis just didn't care about making it a nice view out the window, that it was more important to just have it clean and cleaned often, even at the expense of scratching up all the windows.
So
that's anecdotal.
So it's the cleaning that's scratching it?
Oh yeah. For the most part. That's my understanding from what I remember being told. Yeah,
I see.
There's not a lot that comes up and strikes the coaches.
So it's the cleaning that scratches it. That's
I
interesting.
believe so. Yeah, I believe that's the vast majority of it is just scuffing and scratching.
Right.
I could be wrong. I haven't talked to those folks in a while, but yeah, because it's my recollection is that the company said, God, I hope I'm not wrong about this. This is my recollection that the company wanted to put a better face forward on how the trains appeared, as opposed to allowing people on the trains just to be able to look out, because if you're already on the train, if you can't see clearly, that's it's still going to be a quick, clean ride, I guess was their thinking.
Well,
we want to be showing that we're not, we're tidy. Oh, sorry, I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
No problem. Well, I'm sorry. No, I keep trying to get in, but it's partly because of the delay. So I keep stepping on you. I'm sorry. I think that you paused and then you haven't, so it's my fault. Well, they do a good job of announcing, the stops. So you don't really need to see, the stop to know that you're getting to it. So it's not really it's not the need to know where I am, but I'm borderline claustrophobic. In that I would rather not have a window than a window that I can't see out of. So if there's a window that I can't see out of it, it just drives me crazy, whereas there's not a window, I'm fine, and and like I said, it drives me crazy to the point of like being just a little bit claustrophobic, and so I have to just kind of like intentionally say to myself, okay, do not look at the window because you can't see out of it. Just and there's not a window there. Just read your book or read your computer, So that's the only reason I bring it up, and I just kind of noticed that to me it seemed to have been getting worse, but I don't use the computer rail a whole lot, but it's gotten to the point now where it's like, okay, well, don't even bother with looking for a seat with a good window because chances are you're not going to find one. So, but if it's the cleaning, then I now know. So, all right, sorry, it's petty.
Don't apologize. No,
Yeah,
it's a quality of service
yeah.
thing. I don't think that's really come up before. I'm glad you brought that up.
Is there a materials issue? Are the windows just a different material?
I believe they are all of a Lexan plexiglass in order to provide a little bit of, um, well, flex in response to a strike.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I believe they're a little bit more uh, soft than
Yeah,
good
they'd be
old-fashioned
much.
glass.
Yeah, they'd be much more prone to
Yeah.
fogging.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how often, I'll speak for myself, how often in my um, years of driving, I've had to have a windshield replaced because, one little chip or one
Yeah,
little goof, it's
yeah,
spider webbing. Um, it takes a lot to really crack a commuter rail window because they have that extra
yeah,
flex because it's more plasticky than glass. And that's, if I
yeah,
remember correctly, that's a softer material just by the nature of it.
yeah.
I'm going to ask. That's a
Yeah.
really good question, though.
It's got to be like, projectile proof because they need to protect their precious passengers
Right.
like you, Stefan, be like Harvard heroes. Yeah.
Let's not go there.
I have to say that the down Easter windows are very clear.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good
maybe
point.
they're a
Yeah.
different material.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I'll say too, yeah, I'm borderline claustrophobic, but also I do love looking out the windows, especially being on the trains, and since, I don't take the commuter rail a lot, whenever I'm on a commuter rail, it's like, oh, let's see, where we are, because I don't even drive a whole lot, so whenever I'm like outside of a dense urban area, it's like, oh, yeah, this is what the
yeah.
wilderness looks like. Let's get a look.
Well, you also get a great look of, at least on the down Easter. I love that it goes through the center of the older cities. Like,
Yeah,
Haverhill looks spectacular from the
yeah.
down Easter.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times the views from the rails are interesting to me, but yeah. So anyways, but like I said, I just I guess
Yep.
anything I say now would just be a repetition of what I said. So thanks for indulging.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna pull it up, but I mean, I just did Google, and I'm seeing discussions that I believe confirm what I was saying. But I'm gonna ask the folks that I know.
All right, it's not a big deal. Yeah. So so
All right. So I had this up a moment ago. This is the latest as of right. So for the winter schedule change, 18% up. Wait times down 21%. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Um, 36% more trips, 15% less wait times. I mean, wow. I mean, that's really all I can say here. It's just wow.
yeah, no, and it feels like more. Although I think I'll say something that I think I said last time, and that is that sometimes I find that I'm still waiting, because I get on an alewife, and I find that maybe the headways haven't really changed a whole lot, but the amount of time that
Okay.
I'm spending on the train has changed. So once the train leaves alewife, I now like get to Charleston MGH, and I would say at probably 30% less time, than it took before. So
30%. That's amazing.
less. Yeah, it feels to me it's
Yeah.
fast. It's fast, you know.
Love it.
And it's gotten so fast now that when you go into Harvard Square now, you get the squeal, you know. And it's that ear piercing squeal. It's like, oh, I forgot about that. You know, and so because when it was going really slowly, you would get that squeal, but now it's like, oh my goodness, it can be really intense. I mean, and then when you're in one car, like I'm in a distal one of the end cars, you're over it and it's really loud and you can hear it, you know, hitting the other cars. So anyways, but hey, you know,
It's yeah,
not
it
gonna
is
I'm not gonna
amazing.
complain about the squeal anymore. Go ahead.
Stefan, I don't want to damper your enthusiasm, but
It's okay.
when you do 984 weeks of shutdowns and spending $11 billion, you
Right.
should have improved headways in service.
That's exactly right. Yes.
It didn't dampen it, you know. Yeah, I don't know what you did to it. I would call it dampening it, you know. You
It
just
didn't magically happen. All I'm saying is
yeah.
it was for the
No, it's a fair point.
It's up 30%. How'd that happen? I don't
Yeah.
know. We spent $1 billion and
Yep.
shut down the grid
Exactly.
for a year. Other than that,
Yep.
it's great.
Exactly. I mean, this is the we get what we pay for kind of a response, I guess. Or at least we seem to be getting what we paid for.
That's good. No, I'm happy. And I guess it seems like almost everything's done except for maybe a little bit of the green line. I
Yep.
mean, that they
Yeah.
need to
That's
do
I
it.
think that's this week and next week, and then that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, it looks
Yeah,
like maybe there's something that's stretching into 2025.
I was actually
Oh, I didn't think so.
surprised. I felt like the Green Line was doing pretty well, so I was surprised at this. But yeah, there's an awful lot of buses on the roads right now, but that's fine.
I
I'm
think
gonna
we're in the last 2 weeks of
pull
the
it up
green
for
line, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Hang on.
Yeah, you got the
Here's
schedule
the
down there.
latest. Here we are. Yeah. Last bit is, let me pull this in here. We're on the last bit right here.
yep.
Metro Union to Park. Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about 2025. Never mind. I looked at the graph again. Oh no. So track and infrastructure plans for 2025. It seems like there's something still in 2025.
Oh,
But maybe that's on slide 9, but I don't think we're looking at I'm looking at the tracking. No, I'm looking at the GM's deck. So the GM's deck and
okay.
it's slide
Uh,
number 9.
where did I just put that? Is this the GM report? Yes, this is GM report. Slide number 9.
Never mind. You know, so I think okay. It says
Oh, yeah.
tracking
What?
and it says for 2025, but then on the upper left of this slide, it says November 11th, 2024. And I'm looking at the three triangles there. So it may be that we're all done. I mean,
I thought for the track, yes. I mean, there's still things to do, but I don't believe that there's planned
more,
shutdowns.
or
I think we're back to regular work.
Well, we're still in the middle of these Green Line weeks right now. The buses
Right.
are still,
right.
but Len, maybe you thought that strong line was the year end in that other slide.
Yeah.
Strong.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a really strong line.
Where
It
did I
almost
put it?
looks like a calendar end.
Yeah, this one here with the
Yeah,
timeline. Yeah, this darker line here that's dashed is when this was put out, November
right.
21st at the last board meeting.
So which deck is that on? That's the TI.
This is the
traffic improvement update. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Track improvement. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And according to this, we are in fact in the December and we're in the last of the green,
Yeah.
which I got to point out is a significant. I believe we're in the first of 2 weeks, and that's pretty much among the longest that's hit the green line. For whatever it's worth.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, so from the looks of it, that's probably it. Yeah.
Yep.
For the
Yep.
slow zones.
I believe that's what we were promised. Yeah. And then the
I
work.
think that's right. And
Yeah.
I think maybe we're getting some benefit from scale. And, I appreciate Craig's focus on the money. But, if you hire somebody who was running things in New York City, Boston doesn't seem like that big a challenge. So maybe next time we should hire someone from Tokyo.
That's very good.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. But
Yeah, I'll leave us for this deck. I'll leave us on this slide here, which has got the
well, I guess
the wrap up stats about, just the scope is amazing.
I'll say this. There was, I feel, a much stronger commitment, to doing the work that needed to be done.
Yeah.
I'm glad it coincided with Ing. I'm sure he contributed. His expertise and his knowledge, and apparently he brought in, some of his folks. And some of our folks. That have been with us. Last. But I feel that there was a level of financial commitment. And legislative, well,
Yep.
executive commitment, to doing what we needed to do. Because if we had not had the financial commitment from the legislature and we didn't have the executive commitment, it wouldn't have mattered if it was Eng or someone from Tokyo or 10 of those. We would not have gotten what we got. So and it didn't hurt, to have the FTA, just really, saying you're going to do things different, So we really, to a certain extent, we had no choice, and so,
and I would add it didn't hurt to have lower ridership, so you had less people to complain with the
Right.
shutdowns.
Right.
If we had,
Yep.
if this had been proposed in February of 2020, that level of shutdowns and that level of disruptions, I think would have been very unpalatable.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we did say that we were taking advantage of the horrible pandemic to get work done. With less impact.
It was a combination of all those things coming together. You had the right
Yep.
timing coming out of the pandemic, where you had lower ridership.
Right.
You had political motivate. You had an external source saying "do it or we're shutting you down,"
Right.
or else.
Yeah.
You had folks aligned politically, and you had a good leader. Coming in next week. So all four of those things you needed to.
The feds were shoveling money at us,
So and that's probably the biggest, right? Without the money, none of this would happen. It wouldn't matter who the leader was; it would have been just
And on top of those points, also doing it 2023, mostly 2024, when the ridership is rebounding, makes it all the more necessary and more palatable. Well, maybe palatable is the wrong word, but if this all had been proposed, even with the legislative backing, even with the executive backing, in like 2021, people would have said, no one's going to come back. We're all going to be working from home forever. But that didn't happen. We are going back onto public transit. We are going back into the offices. And I think that, yes, the timing is absolutely right on this. We're rebounding, but we haven't rebounded fully, and this is going to result in even more ridership coming back because of the better reliability.
Yeah, I think you guys have really put your finger on the confluence of positive influences on what's happened. I say that knowing Craig is always worried about the money. But
and hopefully we can build on this momentum. With the confidence that people have in Eng, and the legislature, and the executive, kind of showing that we gotta continue commitment.
I have to ask.
We can do what we did 10 years ago. We can go back to dreaming of expansion projects instead of fixing the broken stuff we have.
I actually have to ask Craig about track improvement and on the Ashmont Mattapan high speed line. Um, at, I'm all of a sudden blanking out. Was there ever, were there ever track issues causing speed restrictions as such, or has it always been
Yes.
like
Yeah.
90% about the cars?
There, there's an area between the cemetery in Milton that there's kind of a curve. It goes up over the bike path on an old
Yeah.
bridge. That corner had a speed restriction forever and ever.
Still there?
I can't remember if it's still there or not.
Okay. I'm curious if if you could ask one of the operators, just, hey, by the way, are there any official speed restrictions? I mean, I don't think I've heard a single thing about
That was definitely
Mattapan
unofficial.
line.
It'd be interesting to see. That's also one of those areas where we could pivot our conversation here is to talk about the Type 10s a little bit. So I want the Type 10s, so we get the Type 9s down in Milton. But if we get Type 9s down in Milton, we got to redo all the tracks and redo the corner, the circle, and everything. So it's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
Don't give the folks in Milton better T service. Because then they'll have to do the MBTA communities, right?
Well, see, that would be nice. That would be a reasonable thing to do to have a carrot and stick approach, where if you choose to do more of this, then you get this along with it, as opposed to just a punitive approach. But I digress.
Yeah.
And
Has
I was just being humorous. I'm really not trying to
You
make
give positive motivation as opposed to just simply hollow threats.
I'm all about the carrot.
has anybody has anybody at MassDOT or MBTA actually said that that they plan to put the Type 9s on Mattapan will not happen? I mean, last I heard, it was still we have to. We can't keep the PCCs going forever.
It'll be
This
a
is like the
conversation
last
10
time.
years from now, because they're taking longer than they were going to do to rebuild all the cars, so that the clock doesn't start ticking until
Right. Oh yeah. Isn't the delivery of Type 10s not till like 2028 or something like that, even for the prototypes?
But then but there's all that infrastructure work you'd have to do to get the trolley line ready if you really wanted to do it. So you're not
right. Yeah, I've forgotten what we expected the current, and I'll put in air quotes, the last rebuild of the PCCs to give us for another lifespan. But wasn't it going to be like 10 or 15, Craig?
Yeah, that's all it was. It was supposed to be. It bought you 10 years. I think is really what. But I think like anything else around the T, it's gonna in reality it's gonna buy us 20.
Oh sure, yeah, yes, yeah. I mean, my
it's like those Type 7s that aren't really running right now.
Yeah, yeah. My recollection is that don't the feds say that you've got to have 20 years minimum if you get federal funding, or is that number 30? In other words, if you buy new vehicles, I know there's a federal requirement. If you get federal money for vehicles,
I don't know if the same thing applies to rebuilds. I wouldn't know if it.
Oh no, I don't think it does. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that I think there's a target of when a vehicle is rebuilt, the target is something like half the lifespan of brand new.
Yeah.
So I just can't remember if the federal mandate is 20 or 30 for a new vehicle. I'm just saying I believe the target for rebuild is half of what it is for brand new. So that's, well, anyway, if it's probably 10 or 15.
I guess going back to the Type 10s, I'm sorry I missed that showcase in October. It was like I wish they kept it out. They did all that work to put it out there. I wish they kept it out there for a week as opposed to a couple days.
Oh, it was only a couple days. Oh, I thought it was a whole week. Oh, that's too bad.
I mean, it may have been a few. I don't know if they opened it early. I don't know, but are there more pictures in this? Probably on this deck of the interior.
I am pulling them up right now. I thought I knew where they were. Okay, I got one. There we go. Whoop.
Huh. It's kind of narrow.
Yep.
It does look narrow in that middle section there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. But I think that's just because there's the seats there, right? I mean, isn't it also narrow on the Type 9s in that center?
Boy,
Oh, is that the
That's one of the articulating sections, I believe,
yeah,
where it's
maybe just
narrower.
in the articulating section, and then it gets bigger in other words. But
I thought so.
you fill those seats with big people, there's not going to be a lot of floor visible.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that's interesting about the trying to pull it up here. You can't really see where the wheels are on the Type 10s. Trying to find. Yeah, see, none of these images that I'm finding right now actually show clearly where the wheels are. And that gives you a lot of idea about the where what the floor height is going to be and what the constraints are. Because, like on the Type 8s, there's a that single axle in the low floor middle, and because of the wheels there, that dictates a lot.
Yeah.
That's why you're climbing up into the front of a Type 8. But yeah, so you can really, I mean, you can kind of see where the wheels are, but yeah, whatever. It looks like one. I'll have to pull up the spec. I'm not going to do it now though. Where'd that go? Too many tabs. There we go. Did that does that show you what you wanted to see?
yeah, that's good enough. I think
Okay.
and I've asked about this before, and I'm the lone dissenter on this.
Oh, tell me.
I,
Tell me.
I hate the bright yellow that they've done on the new orange and the new red. I understand why they do it. They do it for it's supposed to be this is where I can grab onto. It's for a
Yeah.
safety reason.
Yeah.
But I find it just very visually like jarring. Like it's I understand
Yeah.
there's a safety benefit, but I think there's also
Yeah.
there I almost find the interiors of the trains too bright in the yellow, just aggressive in
Yeah.
your face, where it's not a pleasant riding experience.
Hmm. Interesting. I never really appreciated that.
It,
Yeah.
I know what you mean, Craig. But I think it's just partly the way I'm wired up. I tend to get used to things, so I'm finding myself getting used to it. Uh, and I guess I guess I am more it's easier for me to get used to something when I know, well, there's no changing it. But yeah, no, I hear
Yeah.
you. I
No,
agree.
yeah, no, I know, and
So,
I mean, there's not much I can do about it other
right.
than like I think for every action there's a reaction, right? There's a consequence to
Yeah.
decisions, and for some folks, just like how some folks get upset by a lot of too much noise, right?
Yeah.
There are some people who can get overwhelmed visually, and I think the yellow makes it overwhelming visually. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim
That's
to
a
be
very
that.
good
Like
point.
mine's more purely aesthetic. I don't have a medical condition, but I could imagine there would be members of the community who might find this overwhelming visually.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. It is very bright, and and partly one of the things that I think maybe soothes me a little bit is I think, well, maybe it's so bright that it's kind of irradiating things, so it's kind of like killing the bugs.
Well, no, when this is where I would argue. Once again, consequence reaction. That I would guarantee. I would almost guarantee you that pure, just good old fashioned stainless steel would be a more appropriate would be Harvard's less bacteria and things than this.
Right.
Well, I don't know. But if you envision this as super crowded, I think, I think if there's, sudden stops and things like that, this stuff really shows up. So it may end up being, helping in some situations be safer.
Yep. Oh, and I think I verified what I was saying about 2028. I mean, they're saying first cars arriving 2027. Yeah, it's probably more like really going to be 2028. But um, I saw another page that I'm not going to drag over, but it said hoping to have the entire Type 10 fleet delivered and accepted by 2030. So, for the benefit of Craig and folks on the Mattapan high-speed line, if the Type 9s aren't really going to be fully available to transfer down there until like 2029, 2020, 2030, that's a decent amount of time to do that infrastructure rebuild.
Yeah, it's a long time to think of planning for. I know I should be thinking about 2030, but
Maybe we can keep you in
it's
the
right around the
Boston
corner.
area, keep you
That's
in
right.
Milton until the new ones arrive.
Well, if it
Near
helps
line.
you, Craig, fiscal year 30 starts in June of 2029. So it's that
There
much
you go.
closer. It's that much closer.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
5-year plans. I get it. All right. Anything? We're at 6:30. What else? Anything
Yeah,
else we need to wrap up here?
yeah. I'm gonna pull one thing over, which is about the I don't know if you saw this, the goal for Fairmont 20-minute service. I believe that's not the trip time. I believe that's the headway for Fairmont line. And I mean, again, they're calling it a decarbonizing program. Of course, as we all know, it's not really decarbonizing. It's making it not local emissions. It's probably going to be not a lot of overall decarbonizing. It's just transferring it from local emissions along the line to somewhere else. But I'll let Wig talk about that if you want to. But um, I find this interesting though that about the Joint Steering Committee. I mean, okay. I mean, I kind of thought this is what we already had for pretty much all of commuter rail operations, but okay. I mean, MBTA and Keolis and a steering committee. All right.
Where'd you get this one? Where's
Oh,
this
this was
stuff?
part of the board meeting. I'll put the
No
link in the.
problem. I mean, which one? Which one? What? Maybe I might have just
The
flashed past that slide.
yeah, on the board
Okay.
meeting listing, it is actually I got this tab right here. It's the BEMU implementation number
Okay.
7.
Okay. I guess I just missed that one. Okay. I remember
Yep.
reading that one, that
I
deck.
can close
Just missed that
those.
slide. That's fine.
Yeah, so pretty aggressive actually. I mean, procurement in a year and a half? All right. Strikes me as not going to be something very custom. I mean, I don't think in and a year and change, this is going to be a oh no, wait a minute. Procurement, demonstration, manufacturer, commission. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the forest for the trees here.
They have a year.
2028.
Yeah.
Sorry
You're
about
not.
that.
Yeah. You're not getting one for 4 years.
Right. Right. Sorry about that. I wasn't looking over to the right at first. Yes. And
Essentially, the builds on all of them they're giving
couple of years.
themselves 2 years to do the infrastructure work and 2 years to build the new maintenance facility.
Yes, thank you. Boy, sorry. I just
All right.
totally blew it on that one.
Well,
Building the team. I mean, okay. Establish the steering committee. I mean, I guess it's just this all speaks for itself. You know, uh,
This is the
RFP.
interesting one to me, right? The request
But
for rolling stock proposal. Are they remind me, we're going battery here, or we're electrifying the line?
I believe this is targeting 100% battery.
100% battery, right? So
Yeah, I believe so.
I'll be interested to see where we are. Like, it drives me crazy how much we have to customize everything on the T.
Yep.
Like, ideally, somebody else has built battery electric trains, and we're saying, "Oh, good, those look good. Let's buy those." Like, I understand they all have to be made for us, but the amount of customization we do, it's not like there's. I'm hoping we're not the lead sled dog on this. I'm hoping that somebody has braved the ground,
Yeah.
done the work to create these things. And they're in
Yeah.
use somewhere, and we know
Yep.
there's two different companies have them in use, and we can pick the best of the two.
I've read in a couple places that even freight railroads are, I guess, play on words intended, rolling out battery-powered locomotives, but they generally are only for short operations. And I think the one that I read most recently is that it actually has a full, basically like a battery pack on wheels behind the locomotive. So there's, I think the idea is that there'd be the locomotive part with some batteries, and then at least for freight, for where the freight companies can do it, you hook up another car that's like a battery pack, and then that one becomes easier to swap out. So you got more battery, like it's like the old coal tender behind a steam locomotive. You guys know that visual, right? You got the steam locomotive, and you got the tender behind it, which is like a big pile of coal and a big water tank. It's kind of like we're going back to that for at least for freight, but these I think are going to be individually powered, all the motors, all the
Yeah,
batteries for each one.
right. Which makes this different, right? Like, I
Yes.
think they have a really big opportunity here, because to me the Fairmont line should be treated like a subway line.
Yes.
Like, if I and my brothers, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be spending my time to turn it into a subway. So I what I don't when I worry, and this is maybe where we can stay close to this, maybe where somebody getting on the agenda for next year. What I worry is they're going to try to replicate the exact commuter rail model just with battery things in here. We have an opportunity, rather than running big long train sets every 30 minutes, if these things are all independently powered, to do something radically different. I understand you have to staff them, so that's your challenge, but you have an opportunity here to not just deliver a cleaner option so that we don't spew carbon emissions into the inner city, but we also have an opportunity here to provide better service, more frequent
Yep.
service. And I'd like, ideally, when we're doing procurement, we should be doing both, not just trying to replicate the existing commuter rail service. And that will change, to me, the parameters you have on your procurement slightly.
Hey, see,
Well
with
said.
comments like that, Craig becomes assistant GM and he departs the Rock at some point next year. Yeah.
I don't
But
understand
you're
why I have
absolutely
to get promoted to the T to leave. I don't.
Well, you don't have to, Craig. You don't have to be. I was just, yeah. No, all right, fine. Be,
yeah. I
yes.
I I don't think I've read anything about how many units would be on a train set, but I know the goal is to make it so that it could be as few as one, but also multiples. Um, all electric, and with the 20-minute target for headway, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way that they could tie up the number of cars in big train sets if you're going to do every 20 minutes. So I think
Yeah.
I'm sort of going a long way around to say, yeah, I think these are going to be like one or two or three car trains. And they might not even be as big as regular commuter rail coaches. So it might end up being like a little battery powered subway, just not sub.
All right.
I'm
With
gonna see
that, and
if
with
I
my
can find
sage
anything
advice,
on
I
that.
think we're 10 minutes over.
Oh, that's right. We did say we were going to end at 6:30. I forgot. Sorry about that.
Are we at
So,
a good spot to end, or you gentlemen want to keep going?
let me just double check because I did pull up um in another window you can't see right now everything that I wanted to bring up, I think. Yeah, we covered it. Yeah, because the state of the FTA um safety management inspection, the SMI response, that's that's a lot of numbers, a lot of reports, but we are so getting towards the end on that one. That whole FTA top to bottom, inside out. Um, there's just so much green on these slides.
Yeah, but I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to the end. So I don't recall reading from them when they expect to have them all closed out. And then the FTA does me, it's thrown things back at the T, going, hey, this is what you say you're going to do, but this is what we're saying that's not adequate. You need to, do more. So yeah, I just don't know when they're going to close them all out, and that they don't seem to give any indication in what I read. It's when they're going to be closed out, all
That's
closed
true.
out.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
So on that note,
Yeah, but that is it. Yeah, that is everything that I
If I don't
wanted
see you,
to
gentlemen,
share.
have a
and
happy
you
New
won't.
Year, happy holidays.
So happy New Year, happy holidays, all that. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yep, and yeah, Happy New Year also. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
See you, gents, and other folks as well in 2025.
Yes. Bye bye.